Um, where I? Yeah, it's so. I guess I'm. Yeah, the philosophical boundary rationality is the term that Herbert Simmons named, and it's associated with heuristics and stuff. Heuristic, I guess, another word or what another way of. I'm not sure to say it's a synonym with biases, but it's close. Um, and other ways to reach rational shortcuts to reach rational without the most rigorous rational approach, time consuming rational approach. And time consuming is the key thing that makes it bounded rationality, because if it's bounded because you can't analyze every problem in a billion years time because you have a finite life and you have to just take decisions like now, and then you need the cognitive biases or heuristics or the emotional loaded neural highway pathways that just bam, that's what you're going to do, bam, do that, bam, like all the decisions we take in one day and so forth. um, I'm not even sure if it's the manipulation part that makes me have one voice in my head saying it's not really that interesting. I do not know why I have that voice in my head. Maybe because it just associates with something that I find somewhat uncomfortable. Like, I don't think I enjoy persuading people. I think as everyone would feel pleasure in the process of succeeding in persuading, but perhaps it's associated with the perhaps it's just what's it called, rejection association associated with, but it perhaps, I don't know, it's also, it's not, I'm not sure sure it is, it could be, but it also perhaps the manipulation part, it could be used for manipulation and so forth. And that's something that I've been quite concerned about for a long time when it comes to biases and just persuasion when you persuade people. But that's more a moral in that's actually an interesting moral discussion that I've thought about a lot, and I have my own sort of way of thinking about it, even though I understand it's hard to get a perfect view out of it. But and it's so subtle things too, like communication between people. It's so subtle is in its what's actually happening. And another thing I was thinking about, like, Never mind. Hmm. Think about like persuasion is one thing, and that's interesting by itself, I guess. But let's see. I'm not sure this is the right way to think about it, but in general, it's much more interesting what to persuade people to. But I'm not even sure that that's two different things at the same time. It's messy. Which is ironic because I happen to say that I know the theory about this uh, and help people about with it, but that's why I don't plan to be doing it for a long time, because I'm more interested in what to help people with than how to persuade them to help. But I recognize the crucial importance of the skill in persuading others. I'm not even sure if this is the right way to put it, because it is. And this is, by the way, another way how I've thought about how influence worked. I've perceived many times that when I'm in a really good mood, I usually think I perceive, if I'm watching a movie then, and I perceive whatever it is around me, I perceive that as better. Like if I'm in a good mood and I see a movie, if I remember correctly, I will feel much more. I will grade that movie much better if I'm. And I think there are multiple times I've just thought of, would I really value this in such a positive way if it wasn't for I was in such a good mood. And that's something I like. For example, when I feel, for the moment, I do not feel super motivated, perhaps. I'm just super enthralled by the topic in that book, but I know that's been the case for a long time with just that book. But even though there also been a sort of positive voice in the head, sort of, oh, that's book, if I knew all that and could just put that to use in an ethical and good way, that would be amazing. But it's still like something about it that's not I don't know. What I'm trying to think, I'm trying to think if this was a day that when I was really motivated and I just swallowed oceans of caffeine. Maybe I've been more positive, a more positive association to persuasion on that topic in general. But yeah. Um, so yeah, maybe I should switch topic. But but it's still quite a lot of things. It feels as if it feels as if this is the topic that if I thought about it a lot, it feels as if there are many quite low-hanging fruits in terms of sort of secrets that are easy to we just like in many topics I have sort of a map or sort of a way to picture it, but this topic I don't. It's so I guess it could be quite fruitful to just try to get an overview of it, and that's one way of doing that is just talking about it. I feel as if there are lots of things and it is a messy topic. Psychology in general is a messy topic, really messy. And it's quite weird in some sense. Because it's like just discussing free will is just how much of free will do you have if you're just influenced by clouds on a computer? Pennies. Now, I usually don't take sort of a stance against or for determinism and just free will, but um, I won't say it's too complicated for that, but I guess I say that anyway. But when it comes to psychology and just clouds, it is weird in some sense. It's hard to get an overview. At least it's because we have can just, what's it called in English? Point them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like Munger did, 25 different cognitive biases, psychological tendencies, and we have Cialdini written 2 books about them. And many of them are based, or everyone, I don't know, based on heuristics, which is a consequence of bounded rationality, which by at least if you ask von Frasson, it's partly, no, I'm just kidding, just a silly reference, but it's the reason for that is evolutionary psychology. Perhaps not that what von Frasson would say, but it's in his line of thinking, I guess. But because evolutionary psychology is just, it really fits well with many of the psychological tendencies or psychological biases. But this is connected to another discussion, which for me is like, it's as if I don't know what rational thinking even is. It's like, have I ever in my life thought a rational thought? Sorry if my head is up in the clouds, but what the heck? I mean, I don't see a God. There is clouds. No, I'm kidding. I do see him. He's just hiding. But seriously, it's I mean, everything we do is just, I won't say it's just associations, but it's, I mean, what does it even mean to be rational? What is a good example of someone behaving rationally when someone else is not? You could say, okay, someone hates someone so much so they punch that person in the face at the office. You say that's irrational, but in my world, it's much. I mean, maybe he deserved it. No, but I mean, my point is that it's just okay. Maybe I should think about something that's less emotionally loaded in that way, because I'm tempted to think about the person punching as someone who gets someone that person deserves. So maybe I should think about he maybe a person, let's say a person starts to have never taking a shower and smelling like shit every time he goes to the office. That would be irrational, right? I mean, would it really be? I mean, it it would be scary. I'm not sure I have the courage to do that. Maybe, yeah, and maybe I would say that it's dumb. It's risky, like for your job and your. I don't even know what I'm thinking about here, but I don't know. I don't even know what rational is. It's just okay. Maybe that's being irrational. But for me, it's more like but well, you could put it in a sort of a conservative argument, being sort of like rational, behaving rational is sort of doing things that's more safe and what most people do most of the time. Almost out of sort of a conformity, a historical conformity in time and also in at least of the if you have conservative people around you that you behave the same way. That's sort of risk minimization, and it's and then everything becomes rational. Then it becomes rational to do the things that have stood the test of times and just is safe to do because it's have worked many people before you, and you just do the same thing. Um, then that's rational if it makes you succeed. At least if you just take it from an egoistic, but perhaps also an altruistic perspective. But I don't know what I'm thinking about today. But for me, it's I guess because I think there's so many things that are so extremely F word boring that I'm tempted to say that to do really weird stuff is irrational because that's fun. And you life is not worth living if you don't do. I don't say that I live by this, but that's sort of just my brain. Maybe it's just my brain telling me this now, but it's as if I have a hard time because at the same time I could think about a lot of things I would not behave and think, oh, well, I would never do that. I would never do that. I guess I'm quite confused in this. Well, I guess I can think of a lot of ways I would behave at the office, for example. That would not be good ways to behave. And in many ways that some people are behaving that I would not behave, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, some. And well, then that's irrational, I guess, then. And if some people, let's say, are under the influence of doubt avoidance tendency, they will make judgment early about people. And that's a classic bias influenced way to treat and behave towards people. And but at the same time, is it irrational? I mean, it's unethical, but is it irrational? Depends on what you're optimizing for, I guess. If you're optimizing for making some people's lives a hell and just going forward by exploiting people and deciding, and I'll doesn't have to be, if you actually make a positive judgment about someone and that you shouldn't, then it could be very bad for you. So that's obviously not rational by any sort of consideration. So that's a clear wrong decision. And to reciprocate, I guess it's good, but depends on the deed also. And if it's just a negative spiral downward, like the Chinese saying, if you plan revenge, dig 2 graves. So reciprocity can go overdrive too, but it's still sound tit for tat in many ways. I guess that's the thing to understand when it's rational and when it's, and how much is rational. And influenced by power of incentives. Yeah, paying for people for good performance in general is a good idea, and to not reward these behaviors that could easily be faked. Not reward, yeah, in any system design, don't reward what can easily be faked. Which is, by the way, something that I've been thinking about a lot at our workplace. If there are things that we do today that could easily be faked, I think there actually are. I've not really thought about it as much as I wanted to, but it seems as if there are things that perhaps could be faked and still rewarded, but I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway. It's a good day to be alive. I just feel so non-caring about what happens to this video right now. I'm not super focused. perhaps I'll do continue. We'll see. Otherwise, see you next time.